and welcome back to my nail corner. I have so many goodies to share with you guys today. This is a package that was sent over by Dip Nailed It. You've seen them on my channel before and you're going to see them here again. So these are the Dip liquids. They are a brush cleaner, base, activator, top coat. This is their gel top coat, which I've used and love. And she also sent me over her peel base to try, which I am going to try and I will showcase for you guys. There is also a cuticle pen in my package, which I love because you know I always like to wrap up my mani using cuticle oil to hydrate my skin. You know, using these products and doing filing and things can really dry things out, and so I love using cuticle oil to keep that skin around my nails as healthy as possible, especially during these cold and dry winter months. Well, not necessarily dry here in the Pacific Northwest, but you know what I mean. So here are the colors swatched out. Those bottom three solids are UV changers and they glow in the dark. I will show you that later. And these are the fun glitters that she put together to go with those solids. And how fun is this? This is a 1-year anniversary of her opening up shop. And it also was her birthday this past weekend. So Jen, happy birthday. I hope you had a great weekend celebrating. And what a fun collection, totally party vibes. I felt it in every single one that I was swatching out. Those glitters just yell a party to me. So great collection. Definitely check it out over in her shop. This is how those change. Look how quickly they change back also, straight out of my UV lamp, and they were like already shifting back. So that's the UV change and then the glow of those three solid dip powders. I really like that pink one and I'm looking forward to wearing that in the future for sure. I love a good pink, and a UV changer is just so fun. And glow in the dark, yep, sold. So anyway, I'm gonna have the details on those all down in the description box as well as a discount. So make sure you pay attention and read all the information I throw down there, because right now there is a 25% off sale going on to celebrate the anniversary of their shop over there at Dip Nailed It. And after that, if you are shopping, you can use, I have a one-time code. Oh, this was just to show you the comparison in the color between UNT, which is usually my go-to, but I'll talk about Peel Base in just a second. Anyway, there's another code to use for 25% off. It's a one-time code if you're shopping after the sale. And then there's also a 10% code off for if you use that one-time 25% off and then you want to shop again in the future, there is a 10% off. So like I said, all the details will be in the description box below. Sorry if I just jabbered through that really quickly and it was confusing, but it's all below, and please hop over and check out the Dip Nailed It shop. So I am an avid UNT peel base user. It makes me really nervous to use other peel bases because that's just been my go-to, but I wanted to try this out. Most times I've tried out another peel base, the actual pop off is usually not the problem that I have. What I have a problem with is once my peel base dries on the nail and I go to dip, usually the dip base reacts to the peel base and that first layer of dip base like rapidly dries. So then when I dip into my dip powder, that first layer is patchy. And that drives me nuts, and I don't have that experience with UNT. So the bottle said to let it dry 3 to 7 minutes. So I set a timer for 7 minutes, made sure it was fully dry. I did touch it after like 3 minutes when it started to look matte, and it just felt a little bit tacky. And then by the time I was ready to dip after the 7 minutes, it felt fully dry. Now, I will say I don't let my UNT peel base dry that long. As soon as my UNT doesn't look glossy anymore and it looks matte, I go right in and dip. But I like to follow directions to give a product a fair shake, and so that's what I did. So I let it dry for 7 minutes and then I was ready to go, and this is me trying to decide what format I'm going to dip these colors in. And once I got my brain wrapped around it, this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and use the dip liquids that she sent over. I have used them before and really enjoyed them. My first impression when I first pulled them out, I was like, not this time, but the first time, I was like, oh, I'm not usually a huge fan of the black brush, but this one won me over instantly because as you can see, the tip of it is rounded. I don't know why every nail polish, gel, every nail product brush should be rounded, in my opinion, because it fits so perfectly into the shape of a cuticle. Like, our cuticles aren't flat and square, so the rounded shape helps you get such a really nice application up to your cuticle line without having to maneuver too much. So I love these brushes, you guys. All of her products, you'll see it when the Peel Base had the rounded brush, all the dip liquids do, the gel top coat has the rounded brush. I'm a huge fan. So hey, manufacturers out there, make all your brushes rounded. It just makes sense. I don't know why they were ever like flat and squared off. So this is my first dip into the dip powder. As you can see, the base applied really nicely, smoothly, thinly, and then the dip powder itself is a really nice consistency. It's really creamy, and so I was just waiting to see, after I did these two nails, the kind of true test for me with a peel base or a new peel base experience is how that first layer brushes off. So typically, I don't want to say typically, with a lot of different peel bases I've used, it has dried that first layer of dip base, and so it makes that first layer patchy. So that's kind of what I was anticipating. It will often look kind of normal at this point on the nail, and then when you brush off excess, it'll just be like really sparse application. And spoiler alert, you'll see in just a second here that did not happen. So giving it that 7 minutes of dry time worked. I might try it again and do like a shorter dry time and see how that goes, and I will report back. But I wore this mani for 3 days, which it was not budging. Like, everything was securely in place and I was not having any lifting or anything of that sort. And then I wanted to be able to report before I recorded this voiceover how it popped off. And I will say I did my normal pop off process. I usually take a file around the cuticle line and across the free edge just to kind of break that seal. And then I apply cuticle oil, and then I use a little tool to kind of work the dip powder up. And I had 3 of those dip nails pop off in one full piece, and then the other 2 just easily lifted but broke apart. So I had no problems, no complaints. The peel base worked, and like I said, I didn't have that typical kind of patchy first layer of dip powder. So yay, good things to report. So I'm going to go ahead and continue dipping into these solids. I really love this color. It's a really nice, like, muted fuchsia, I guess is what you call it. Anyway, you have eyes, you can see it. And then I'm going to dip into the solid kind of muted purple color, and then we're going to get into some glitters. But I have lots more to say, so hang in there and I will be right back with you. Okay, so again, you saw great application of that solid right over that peel base, like a nice solid first layer, and then the second layer built up beautifully, and I have no complaints. The dip base is really nice and thin, in my opinion, and also you can use your dip top coat if you don't have dip base left, and so having a set of dip liquids like this, if you're a gel top coat user, you really get like 2 dip bases out of your set because you can use that top coat and base interchangeably. Now, Jen did say that the top coat has a slightly thicker consistency. I looked at them side by side in the bottle, and like maybe you can tell a little bit by looking at them, but really barely. But I obviously it's her product. I take her word for it. But all that to say that I would not hesitate to use either one of them as your dip base if you're a gel top coat user. So always keep that in mind if you're buying a set of 3 liquids and you're like, I'm not a dip top coat user. Well, just use it as your dip base. So I wanted to go ahead and put a layer of clear down, and that is because I'm only going to do 1 layer of these circle glitters. I'm going to lay my finger into the circle glitters because it's a clear base to this glitter. And then I'm going to individually place more circle glitters to get a more concentrated, party nail. And when was that ever a more fitting way to describe an accent nail? Like, I've heard it described as the party nail before, and this glitter mix, oh, such a party nail. I love these glitters and the colors in them. I just was in love. I'm not a big yellow wearer because of my skin tone. I feel like yellow doesn't look great in a solid full nail. But I was loving the yellow circle glitters in this accent. I was just living for them. So I just used my finger, as you could see, to just kind of gently press down any of those circle glitters that were kind of sticking up at all, to just try to get as flat of a surface as possible. And then I'm going to just apply dip base to the nail again and use an orange wood stick to just pick up some more glitters and individually place them. You guys have seen me do this before if you're, a regular person, follower, subscriber to my channel. Obviously you're all people, but anyway, if you've been here before, you've seen me do this, so it's nothing really new. I'm just going to individually place those where I want them to fill in some of the gaps, and then we are going to do a dip in clear over everything. If you are new here, thanks for being here, and please consider subscribing. That helps my channel grow and helps me know that you guys are here and watching and enjoying the content. A thumbs up always helps, a comment below, all of those things just kind of help my channel grow and help me get feedback on what you guys like. So the reason I like to do a dip of clear is to really protect that pigment or the glitter when I'm filing. So I like to just do 1 dip of clear over everything. Clear acrylic dip powder is also the strongest because it's not compromised by pigment or glitter or anything. So if you're dipping not over a builder gel enhancement or anything like that, if you're just dipping on your natural nails, I feel like that added layer of clear dip is also going to just add some strength to your mani. So I like to do 2 dips of color and then a dip of clear. That's my personal preference. It's not a necessary step if you don't mind. Some pigments will get kind of almost worn off by your file, and you might get some patchy looks to them, or your glitters that are colored on the outside are often silver on the inside, so it's going to change that look if you don't cap in clear, but again, totally up to you. This clear is from Dip Nailed It. It's called Invisible, I believe, and it was great. I had no complaints whatsoever. You will see in the finished product that you just can't even tell it's there. That's what you want out of a clear. So I do a nice thorough coating to a glitter nail. You just want to make sure you have plenty of dip base on there to just kind of get in all the cracks and crevices to really even out the surface of that nail. And I usually will do a double dip like that. It just gives a little bit more to it. If you don't feel like you got a full coverage over a glitter dip nail, you can totally do a second dip of clear. That's up to you, but it just gives you that nice extra margin for filing because, chunky glitters can be a little bit lumpy. I also recommend using a stiff brush like I'm using here. You can use a toothbrush if that's what you have on hand, or just any kind of bristled manicure brush, because you want to get as much of that clear off as possible. And you could see the difference when I used the light fluffy brush and then when I got that stiff brush out, how much more of the clear was kind of brushed off during that process. If you don't brush a lot of the excess off, then you might get kind of like almost like a speckly look or like a bubbly look when your manicure is finished. And hey, if you're into that, then go for it. But that's not the look I was going for. So I went ahead and used that stiff brush. So now I am activating. And as you can see, that kind of cloudy look from the clear dip powder goes away completely and it's just clear. So now it's going to be that nice, like I said, margin for me to file and buff the surface of my nails. You really only need one layer of activator. I do too. It just makes me feel extra secure and that it's kind of soaked through all of the layers of dip powder. And then once your activator has cured that dip powder, it's going to give like a clickety clack sound when you tap on it with your nail. And that's how you're going to know it's hardened enough to file. It's usually just like 2 to 3 minutes and then you're good to go on your filing. So I'm going to go ahead and file and shape these up off camera and then show you guys how they turned out. So this is the filed look. I like to go ahead and use a lint-free wipe with rubbing alcohol, and that is just to make sure any of my filing dust particles or anything are not left on the nail and just help me get like a really nice glossy finish. And if you've been here before, then you know I always apply a gel base before a gel top coat, like religiously. But when Jen sent this over, she said, hey, and by the way, you don't need to use a gel base under the mirror, I forget what it's called. It's like mirror gel top coat, and you'll know why in a minute. It's so darn glossy. But I was like, okay, I'm testing out the new peel base. I will take the leap of faith and I will try this without the gel base under it. So I went ahead and applied the gel top coat, just one layer, and then made sure to cap the free edge of my nail. Now that's something I do anyway, but I was especially particular to do that because I was a little bit nervous about not using my gel base under the gel top coat. So this right here is capping the free edge. You're just going to run your brush along that free edge, and that just is going to help seal everything in really nicely. I tend to do that and then run over the surface of the nail again, and that's just so any kind of gel you got on the top of your nail as you were capping the free edge, you just smooth that out again so you don't have like a lump at the tip of your nail. So I went ahead and applied one layer and cured it for the 60 seconds. And like I said, I mean, I'm not the best, I don't know. I can't give the best feedback on longevity of wear usually because I only wear my dip powder for a few days before I pop it off and I'm on to the next one. But in 3 days, I'm a pretty active wearer of dip powder. I work out in a garage gym. I'm doing dishes and handling kids. We homeschool. Like my hands are into a lot of stuff. This week we had some snowfall, so I was out doing a little bit of stuff outside. There's just there's plenty going on, and I will say I did not have any top coat peeling off. So not from water, from like soapy dishwater or anything like that. Nothing affected the glossy surface of this top coat. So I will continue to wear and give feedback and let you guys know if I find any peeling, but it sure seemed like it was a non-issue. So I've done a mani now on my right hand and I used the top coat as well. It's only 1 day in, but I have no peeling yet. So Jen, I believe you, and I don't know what you did, but however you did it, you made this top coat stick like glue. So there you go, mirror no wipe top coat, and look how darn glossy. Oh my gosh, it's so shiny. I can't get over it. I am going to apply my cuticle oil. This didn't have a label with a scent on it, so I can't tell you. I'm the worst person to tell you what scent anything is. All I can tell you is it smelled yummy. And I really enjoyed it. So I went ahead and applied cuticle oil around my fingers. The skin around your nails being affected so much by like everything you're doing, and then the winter weather, like I said, just kind of dries things out. So I apply cuticle oil several times a day, kind of like chapstick for your finger skin, just to keep that healthy and hydrated. I find that doing that really helps keep my skin from kind of getting torn, getting like hangnails around there. It just helps keep it really healthy. healthy. So I'm a huge advocate for cuticle oil. So snag some of that next time you are shopping. So here is the finished look. It definitely felt like a birthday/anniversary party celebration on my nails. So check out the shop, give her a little follow over on Instagram and in her Facebook group. I will link those below, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye now.